Alright, here's a video about power chords. Power chords are different from the other chords that you might know, like D and A and C and so on, in a few interesting ways. One is that you can see if I have a D chord, my first finger is kind of held like this, and it touches the string on its fingertip. Also, and if we take a look at any of those other chords, like C or G or whatever, we have something that's at least pretty similar. And this finger bone here, goes at about a 45-degree angle to the fret, give or take about 5 degrees. Anyway, when we play a power chord, things are very, very different with the first finger, but interestingly not with the other fingers. And the other finger that's in question here is going to be really the third finger, unless the other fingers get up to some other mischief. So the first finger is going to lay pretty flat right now. You can't really tell from the video exactly what my first finger is doing, so I'm going to let you hear what it's doing. It's playing the A string, just the same way it would normally play, although it looks different. But it's touching the low E, it's touching the D, it's touching the G, it's touching the B, and it's touching the high E. So it's muting all of those things. So if I were to strum, you just hear, and that was a big whack on all the strings, you only hear one note, just the one that my first finger's playing. If you can get that, by the way, here's a look at my thumb. My thumb is a little bit closer to the center, a little bit closer to the body of the guitar than my first finger is. And there's the doorbell, so more to follow later. Alright, so here we are. We've got our first finger set up. It's touching the low E, playing the A, touching the D, touching the G, touching the B, and touching the high E. One of the mistakes that people tend to make here is that they try to do this with their fingerprint, you know, as though maybe they're pressing a doorbell or something like that. And you can see from the indentations in my finger, maybe, I'm not sure, that you can kind of see the indentation sort of going up the side of my fingers there. They're not that deep right now. Let me squeeze and make a nice deep indentation. There we go. So they're kind of going up the side of my finger here. And so you should feel it a little bit on your side. Notice here that my second finger is not crowding, not touching my first finger at all. And let me point this down a little bit. There we go. And my third finger is coming down on the D string now, on the 4th fret, right next to the fret, right on its fingerprint, right there. So my third finger is going to get used the way we normally use it. And so now I can do, if you look at my right hand, I can play this basically in a couple of ways that I can think of off the top of my head. I can do what I consider polite strumming, where I'm basically taking care not to hit any other strings, like this. Now a little slower, and maybe you can do it with me. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Alright, now, that's one way of doing it, polite strumming. That will get you a lot of things. For instance, I'll play just a little common riff that we can hear anywhere from groups from like Men at Work to 38 Special to old-time rockabilly to almost anything you can think of. Okay, so something like that. That's polite strumming, and you'll notice that I was using my pinky, but that was because, rather than my third finger, but that's because the other chord that I was pairing this with had a larger stretch to it. But that gives you an idea of what polite strumming sounds like. But let's just say that you were playing something like, let's say, Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. You simply can't play something like that convincingly and strum politely. So you can't go, let's see, I'm gonna back up here so you can see what I'm doing here. You can't go. That almost works, but it doesn't quite work, does it? Instead, we really have to basically hit all the strings more or less, and that makes the muting that our first finger does by touching all of those other strings extra important. So that's going to go like this. So that's what I call aggressive strumming, and as I said, muting is of paramount importance when we do that. Alright, so one of the problems that people have with power chords as beginners is they try to have their first finger angled like this, so that's about a 45-degree angle, and then they sort of try to stretch out this way. And that winds up creating various problems, even though with polite strumming sometimes that still works. So anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to take that first finger and I'm going to pivot it by rotating my left hand, in so that my elbow is sort of pretty close to my belly button right now. If you look down here, I don't know if you can kind of see how my elbow is, but it's nice and close to my body as opposed to like when I play a G chord when you can see that it's way out over here. Bring that in, and now imagine that you've got a marble that's your second joint in your first finger, and you've got a marble that's at the tip of your first finger. If you connect the center of those two marbles with a straight line, that straight line would be parallel to the fret. So we don't want to see this. There's too much space over here, and now my other fingers are going to start to have problems doing their jobs. One of the ways that you can start to solve this is by using your first finger, placing your third finger first. So I'm going to place my third finger at the 4th fret of the D string, all the way up to the fret, and now as I move towards the 2nd fret of the A string with my first finger, my third finger is not going to let itself be dragged. So if my third finger just holds tight to that spot, my first finger will tend to be forced to find its own side. Now I can play it aggressively or I can play it politely, whichever way suits me. And so here is a little Iron Man riff. And this can be challenging, so especially during the slidey bits. And here we go. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. One more time. So try that, and I'll give you some. I'll give you sheet music to where those chords are, but I'll talk you through them right now one time before we sign off here. So I'm at the 2nd fret, 1. At the 5th fret, this is of the A string, by the way. I always refer to power chords by the string that their lower note is on, because power chords can be on any string and on any fret. So this is the A string 5th fret, which means that my third finger is at the D string 7th fret, but I don't talk about my third finger. It's always going to be 1 string higher than my first finger and 2 frets higher besides that. So again, 2nd fret of the A string, 5th fret of the A string, 5th fret of the A string again, sliding up to 7. Play 7 again. Here's what we have so far. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, relax, go up to the 10th fret. A little bit of a tight squeeze on an acoustic guitar, maybe even impossible on the classical, depends. And we're going to play the 10th fret, and we're going to slide back and forth 3 times, back and forth to the 9th fret. So it's going to go 10, 9, 10, 9, 10, 9, with just 1 pick stroke there. Then we're going to go down to the 5th fret again, and we're going to go, let's see, that was 1 E and a 2 E, and this is going to be and 3 at the 5th fret, slide up 2 frets, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 E and a 2 E, and 3 and 4. And that's Iron Man. So good luck with that. It may take a few months for you to be able to play that smoothly, especially if you happen to be playing an acoustic guitar. Thanks a lot. See you next time.